Welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing well, and welcome to another day of, well, more videos, more things to talk about. Look at here. I am excited about doing this story. And you want to know why? Because life comes in balance, right? Well, at least it needs to have some kind of balance. It has a mix of good and a mix of bad. And so when you hear so many things that are adversarial or not in the positive mindset and positive space, it's so nice to see something that counteracts it. And I couldn't think of anything more for today in this moment than the story of these two and what it must be to have that kind of enduring love, that kind of acceptance, that kind of level of security, and just being safe in a space with a human being that provides that kind of care for you, and that you can also be at your best to provide that for them. I love it. I love it. I love it. If you've been with me for a while, you know I love romance and I love love. Real romance, though, real love. And I'm not really into that struggle love. Not at all. Okay? Enduring love, I can get with that. You know, love that goes through a journey, love that goes through things, that comes back in a way that makes you stronger, not tears you apart or makes you weaker. That is the kind of love that I'm here for all day, every day. Fantasy is great. It's great for TV. But in real life, we got to be able to create our own fantasy. And that doesn't mean perfection, because we all know that that doesn't exist. But what it does look like, this could be an example of that. So we're going to get into it because, as you know, Cassie has welcomed, her and Alex have welcomed their third baby, third bundle of joy to their beautiful growing family. Now, whether they'll have more children or not, who knows? But I'm so happy for them. And I'm happy that she had a safe labor, considering what she just had to go through and what she's been able to have to endure herself in closing a chapter of such a harrowing time in her life. Now, irregardless of what side of the coin you on about that situation, one thing that to me is for sure is that to go through the certain things that we have heard and that have been alleged, in order to come on the other side of that and find some sense of peace and happiness and be able to move forward, is something to be commended and maybe something to be studied. So, not that this is a perfect union, not this is a perfect coupling. These are not perfect people, because perfection does not exist. But what this does show is an example of enduring love. And so we're going to get into both parts of this sharing, because I am so excited to be able to not only share the things that are not so positive going on, but also be able to share when there is something positive. So flipping the script is what I like to do, and that's what we're going to get into it. I hope that you enjoy that as well. So go ahead, sit back, relax. Let's get into it. Definitely make sure you're leaving your beautiful, thoughtful comments down in the comment section below so we can communicate about it. I would love to know your thoughts as we go on into both sharings. One of the two of these beautiful people welcoming their baby number 3, and also getting into maybe a little bit of an insight to their enduring love. All right, so let's go ahead and start with part 1 of this sharing, which is actually coming to us by way of abcnews.com. All right, so here we go. It says, Cassie Ventura welcomes third baby with husband Alex Fine. Now, Ventura had announced she was expecting baby number 3 in February. Now, Cassie Ventura is, of course, mom to 3. The singer, actress, and model welcomed her third baby with husband Alex Fine, a source close to Ventura told ABC News on Wednesday. No other details was immediately available. Now, the news of Ventura's delivery comes 2 weeks after she testified in Sean Diddy Combs' trafficking and racketeering trial. The singer, who was in an on and off relationship with Combs for more than a decade and alleged that Combs subjected her to abuse, was called on by prosecutors as their first witness in the trial because she was 8 months pregnant at the time of her testimony, just 2 weeks ago, actually. One of the violent episodes she just testified about was a 2016 incident in Los Angeles that jurors watched on a video captured by hotel surveillance at the time. The video was first released by CNN in May 2024. You know, that video seen all around the world. Following the release of the video last year, Ventura took to Instagram and thanked everyone for their love and support. The outpouring of love has created a place of my younger self to settle and feel safe now. But this is only the beginning, she began. DV is the issue. It broke me down to someone I never thought I would become. With a lot of hard work, I am better today, but I will always be recovering from my past. This healing journey is never ending, but the support means everything to me, she said at the end of her post. Now, after the video had surfaced, Combs apologized in a video he shared on Instagram. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges and denies sexually assaulting or trafficking anyone. Now, Ventura announced she was expecting baby number 3 in February. She shared a series of sweet black and white photos with Fine and their 2 daughters, Frankie Stone Fine and Sunny Single Fine, on Instagram. She had the little caption with the pregnancy in the heart, number 3, and that's how she captioned her post on Instagram. Fine also shared a separate post about the news of their growing family and wrote, "Best gift I could ask for." Ventura and Fine, a wellness consultant, met at the gym. The duo tied the knot in October 2019. According to Vogue. Oh, and so congratulations is most certainly in order for these two. I am so happy for the fact that she was able to make it through the testimony, because my gosh, the grueling 4 days that must have been between her initial testimony and the cross-examination, and I think a little bit of recross as well. Not to mention the fact that her husband had to endure listening to all the things that were said in that courtroom as well. Also, to include the fact that her mother had to spend just really days before her giving birth in court testifying for whatever she needed to be testifying for as well. So to see that they were so close to that, marker of the baby coming in, I'm so glad that it seems to be everything all good to go at this point. We haven't heard anything negative. From what I understand, it was, positive situation towards the end, and the fact that, she safely had the baby and she's doing okay. And I guess we will wait to hear more news. But I am so happy for this couple. I'm so happy for the fact that, they were able to get past and through that really difficult time. Again, regardless of what side that you're on. And of course, all allegations that were shared are just that, allegations, until we get to that side of where we find out what happened. But a lot of us already kind of feel where we feel, and a lot of us sit where we sit at this point. But I want to say, I think that even with all of that, one can be happy about something like this. I mean, this should be a joint effort in feeling just the fact that she was able to get through what she needed to get through and then turn around and be able to deliver their third child. It could not have been easy for the family whatsoever, although knowing that, Alex probably knows everything that there is to know about the situation. In order to hear about it and see about it again, could not have been easy. And I've shared that in my videos that I have done some parts on there. If you haven't checked those out, make sure you do. Week 1 and week 2 is already up. And yeah, it's just a way of giving kind of a high level view of the things that took place throughout the week. I'll be doing another one here at the end of this week for week 3 as well. But staying back on place with Cassie and Alex, congratulations to them adding to their brood. So now, because I find myself very interested in knowing how a love like this can exist, considering the turmoil in which, she's had to deal with, or that she's dealt with, period, no matter what direction and why, the reasoning for what she did. And there's so much to talk about. There's so much discussion that can come around how someone finds themselves in these type of situations, and how we as people societally are able to come together and be able to know the signs or the things that we should be trying to do to help each other as we go through dealing with adversity. We don't have to understand all of the reasons why people make the decisions that they make, especially when they're doing these decisions to hurt themselves, because there's always a deeper deeper meaning behind it. And so therefore, giving some grace and giving some space and understanding that nobody is perfect and everybody has a story. Even the situation of the person, obviously, that is clearly had the allegations towards is nowhere near perfect either. But the atrocities that are being alleged at this point are just, horrific on all scale. So the fact that she's been able to move past this point, and when I say past, I want to say more like through, because it's a journey for sure. Her life is a journey, irregardless of what she thought was going to look like. I'm pretty sure she didn't know it was going to look like this, but I would say this situation that she seems to find herself in right now in regards to having a happy marriage and a happy life with her two beautiful girls and her little boy on the way. Now that is now here, now been welcomed, right? It's just remarkable to see that kind of strife because, it's just like people like anybody else, right? So with that, I think it'd be nice to go ahead and jump into a little bit more about their love story. Let's see what kind of things that they felt free to share with us and to let us in on a little bit of how this duo became what they are now. And that is a fast moving building a family, and definitely with every single milestone within their loving situation is I would say a boost up from something else. Doesn't cancel things from what's happened, but it most certainly tips the scale to a better balance. So that way you can get through emotionally and mentally through these moments, because there are going to be dark moments. There are dark moments now. There are going to be moments where you may be in your feelings. You never know what could be a triggering situation to make you think about a situation. It could be so many of those things. So to have so much abundance in this way, and hopefully we'll continue in that direction, I think it could do nothing more than help than anything else that could ever be needed, right? So let's go ahead and get into part 2, because I am excited to know a little bit more about this enduring love story that is Cassie and Alex Fine. All right, so now we are going into part 2 of the sharing, which comes to us by way of AOL.com, and it says Cassie Ventura and Alex Fine's powerful love story is rooted in a shared adversity. Now, Cassie Ventura has Sean Diddy Combs to thank in part for finding the true love of her life. Interesting how the tables turned on that, right? Ventura's husband, Alex Fine, was Combs' personal trainer before he became Ventura's trainer, which led to them falling in love. The two wed in 2019 after her tumultuous relationship with Combs played out off and on between 2007 and 2018. Now, based on their social media posts and interviews, the relationship Fine and Ventura share is in a direct contrast to the horror she says she suffered at the hands of Combs. As she has testified about those allegations in the federal trafficking trial against Combs this week, Ventura's husband has been in court supporting her, much like he vowed to do in an open letter he shared on social media in 2019. I promise you that I will do every single thing in my power to support you and help you, he wrote at the time. I promise that you will never be alone. I promise that you will be loved beyond expectation, and we will show our children how to be in a healthy relationship. Loving Poonie? Well, Fine has a nickname he utilizes as his social media handle on Instagram. I'm Alex to everyone, but to close friends, I'm Poonie, a nickname I've had since I was young, he told Zero Magazine. And Fine, Ventura found a man who can sympathize with the violence she has said she was subjected to by Combs. And attorneys for Combs have said the violence in his relationship with Ventura was mutual. Now, in a March 2020 post on his Almost Home site, Fine explained why he chose to run a 50-mile marathon to raise money for his DV charity, inspired by experiences his beloved mother had suffered. When I got the news that my mom had been the victim of DV, I really didn't know how to handle it, he wrote at the time. Fine said his anger over the abuse his mother endured deeply affected him. I didn't want to give into those paralyzing feelings, he wrote. So I decided to channel my anger and feelings of helplessness by running 50 miles to bring awareness and hopefully raise money for other victims of DV. That type of sensitivity was on hand when he proposed to Ventura in 2019. I know that Alex was designing a ring, but I honestly wasn't expecting a super elaborate proposal because we already had the wedding date set, but he planned such a beautiful experience for me, she told Vogue. I was so surprised. A cowboy at heart, the trainer turned model and actor was on location with the Compton Cowboys and asked Ventura to meet him for what turned out to be a surprise proposal. He told me to come ready because we were driving straight to dinner to celebrate my birthday early that night as my family was coming into town, she recalled. I was running a little late, so he called me to check in. Ventura said she had heard a Stevie Wonder song playing and spotted the guys on their horses waving at me. I looked up and saw our initials tied up above them. Then Alex came around on his horse. Oh my gosh, I'm getting a little bit emotional. Oh, wow. Okay. When he got down on one knee, everything just stopped, she told the publication. I felt like I lost my sense of hearing. I just saw his mouth moving and he said, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Woo! April, get it together, get it together, get it together, get it together. Then they went to Playa del Rey, where Fine had arranged for two of their friends to set up dinner and a bonfire on the beach. I will never forget how special Alex made me feel that night, Ventura said. Being a dad and a husband is the greatest thing I've ever done. Fine has continued to show Ventura that she is unrivaled in his affection. They are the parents of two daughters, Frankie 5 and Sunny 3. Ventura is due to give birth to their third child soon, which we now know that has happened. I'm a father, husband, and actor, he told Zero. Family and work take the most importance and focus in my life. I became the man I am today a lot from the environment I grew up in. My mom and dad are the best. Being a dad and husband is the greatest thing I've ever done, and I don't know how I got to be so blessed, Fine said. Ventura has returned the praise. Now, in honor of Father's Day last year, she shared a series of photos and a video of Fine. There is just no one like you, Ventura wrote in the caption. Fine paid a public tribute to his wife on their third wedding anniversary. I'm so lucky that I got to marry my best friend and most beautiful wife in the world. Every morning I wake up and see you and the babies, I get so happy. He wrote in the caption of a series of wedding photos. Now on Wednesday, Fine appeared stoic as he left the Manhattan courthouse of the Combs trial, where his wife has spent more than 8 hours testifying so far about her troubled past relationship with the embattled musical industry vet. She's holding up strong, Douglas Wigger, Ventura's attorney, had told reporters outside the court. When asked how Ventura's husband was doing, he said, put yourself in his shoes. Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that included racketeering, conspiracy, as trafficking, and transportation to engage in, well, activities of the night that you get paid for, starts with a P, it's illegal. His defense team has said they may call Fine to the stand to testify. A challenge he and Ventura will likely get through together, which we did not see that take place, but it most certainly was something that was threatened. Don't know if that is something that will come into play later on. It very well may. Who knows? Because I heard a bit of something where they was talking about because, Diddy's side, of course, was looking to try to get any kind of testimony they could removed and redacted, taken away. And there were some rumblings about maybe calling Cassie back to the stand. And it's like, what are you talking about? Calling her to where? She's giving birth. All right. And so she's out of commission for quite some time. So hope you got what you needed to get at the time. Don't see anything changing on that. Now, will they try to drag her husband into the fold? Don't know. Maybe they'll leave it alone. When her mother actually had got on stand and said what she needed to say, there was no cross-examination of her. So, and all those details and all that good stuff, definitely make sure you check out my videos if you haven't had an opportunity to do so and are interested in knowing more about what took place throughout each week. Now, we're currently in week 3, so there has been a little bit of space and time, not by much, but just about a week or so of time between Cassie leaving the stand and now giving birth, and now being able to really truly move on to new beginnings in a new way, closing a chapter of something so ugly and so atrocious, and then being able to move into something much greater, much brighter, much more beautiful, much more enduring. In order to, one thing we can hopefully that taking those lessons and added that wisdom that she has and the experiences as well, as long with Alex, that they're able to put those things into their children. And now having, 2 girls, which of course with what she's endured, we hope that things are going to be put in place to where they don't experience anything nowhere near to what she's had to experience. And then now also having a son means they can be able to share that wisdom and giving that kind of grooming for both sides, right? To be able to handle both sides, to have that little boy grow up in a way of respecting and loving on whoever that needs to be associated with. And the same for the girls. And also too, that both set are definitely loving on themselves, because that's where it really starts. You have to love yourself. You yourself have to be more important than anything else out there that you can imagine that you could get or want. There has to be limits. There has to be boundaries to the things that you will do to get what you want as well. Because I guarantee you, there's a better way to get to what you're looking for. And if it isn't something that's going to happen for you in that particular mode, then maybe it wasn't meant for you to happen. And there's a reason for that, right? Because look at where we're at. Now, some may wonder, what Cassie may do for the rest of her time. I mean, she's just got herself a nice little $20 million settlement that's going to help her out real well, and potentially another $10 million for that video. And so really the world's her oyster. I kind of think that we're probably going to see her more secluded in the sense of just, nurturing her family. But if she chooses to come back out and do something that's a positive and that she feels is helpful for her and her family, whatever the case may be, then so be it, right? Because no one needs to hide in the shadows. At the end of the day, all her business is out there. I mean, all her business is out there. And so at this point, doing that, owning those situation, owning that story, not having to own, what she's not responsible for, but owning the story, owning the experience in such a huge way, and then being able to then take that on and move on to do what she needs to do with life. I mean, I think that it's really sky's the limit, to be honest with you. So will she come back out as a pop star or anything like that? I kind of feel that ship has probably sailed. I don't think that's something she even wants to do. But do I see a book in the making? Sure. Do I see maybe possible acting gigs in the making? Sure. Do I see some other entrepreneurial aspect? Sure. Or could it just be peace and life and just living it with no expectations of anything other than doing just that? Sure. You can do that too. So yeah, I am just so happy to been able, for so many reasons, to be able to do this story. I'm so glad that the story was actually put out there. I think that, people can get really caught up in certain things, and we can get caught up in our thoughts and our biases and our feelings about certain things, and sometimes forget that what we're looking at are human beings. And I think that the fact that this situation could be no different in no other story. There is many people that you might know of, definitely have heard of, and just normal day speak, not messing around or running around with a mogul, who deal with atrocities of domestic violence every day. And so to put that spotlight on that, to put that focus on that, I hope that her story, whatever come what may, whatever end result that we get to, that I hope that her story, that of Cassie and of Alex's, theirs together and separate, provide a sense of ability for people to really have a greater understanding, a greater empathetic level, and really finding some sense of peace or solace or validation in what they're doing, trying to do, how they try to help others, how they try to help themselves. Understand they're not alone, understand that they can get to the other side. And then also for the proactive situation, understand you don't have to get into this in the first place. The music business and all kinds of businesses are under a complete change, I think, at this point. How that change settles in, we'll see. Like they say, people unfortunately have very short attention spans, and sometimes people tend to forget, or as time goes on, soften or be desensitized that the horrors of things that have been going on for what feels like centuries, right? And definitely decades, and looking at all these different things, and just knowing that when you hear like Tinseltown or Hollywood is so small, but then look at so much of that we have seen in the last couple of years alone, that has been such a negative thing, from the actors and childhood actors that have come out and spoke on their atrocities they dealt with, to grown adult actors, and and just all of the things that we have heard, and just to know that so much of this permeated through the industries, it's sad. It really is sad. The preying on individuals, no matter what you think is okay in life, the preying on an individual for whatever reason, the targeting or anything like that, it's just a horrific thing to see. And of course, all things are alleged, and of course, we want to make sure we keep the thought of things in a perspective that allows us to, keep an even head about things, and to be able to look at things for what they are. And, a lot of times being able to put yourself in the position of that person, or knowing a family member who may have dealt with something like this, where we can give grace, where we can have empathy. We could use so much of that in the world. 100%, 1000%. Right? So for me, I'm rooting for this couple. I'm rooting for Cassie. I'm rooting for anyone who's in any situation of adversity. And that would probably mean everyone. And I'm rooting for them to find the peace and the solace that they need, that puts them on a path that is positive, that works for them, that they don't harden themselves, that they don't harden their situation to make themselves prickly or make themselves unable to find a connection with someone who really truly would be there for you. These are some of the consequences that come from dealing with atrocities, alleged or not, whatever the case may be. But atrocities of such as these, the effects and the lasting nuances can go on for life. And so it's an everyday journey to wake up and be able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm okay, I'm going to be okay, and this is what we're going to do today. And each day is an opportunity to move forward in that journey. So with that, I thank you so much for being here. I thank you so much for taking the time to take a view. Yeah, definitely let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I love when you leave your respectful, loving thoughts and the things that, some of the conversations that I've had with, a few of you here on my platform and, in the comment section. I'm so appreciative of it. It's just nice to be able to have those conversations, right? It's nice to be able to be in community with one another. So I do definitely appreciate it so much. And definitely, if you are new here and you have not hit that subscribe button, I hope that you will. I hope you will become a family member and just chill and hang out for the duration, right? And I thank you so much for those of you who already been part of the journey. Thank you so much for your continued viewing and listening support. Now, I will have 2 more videos popping up on the platform. So I definitely want you to make sure you have your all notification bells on so you do not miss those 2 videos, as well as, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts, and I definitely want to know yours as well. So with that, I'm going to bid you adieu for this video. Make sure you come on back, because I'll see you in a bit. Talk to you then. Bye.